right, so a few days ago, I did a video on Replit, this new Agent 3, where it can build for over 200 plus minutes, running autonomously. It can do testing of your product. And in this video, I want to continue what I started, which is a multi-speaker podcast, AI-generated podcast that I actually deployed, but there were some bugs and kinks that still needed to get worked out. So to just show what the podcast app looks like, I could pull that up here, podcast pilot, and click view live app. And so here it is. The way it works is you can paste in an article. You can choose a host voice or and the host itself, podcast length, the type of discussion, and you can also add intro, outro music and background music. And so I want to make some adjustments based on. So I'm doing this actually based on clients I've worked with that have this kind of ask uh, as far as AI generated podcasts and what they can do and cover for interviews and things of that nature. So I want to make some adjustments to this, and I know there was some parts of it that wasn't functional. So if I actually just show you here what this currently looks like, if I take an article here for example, I'm just going to drop in an article. It extracted the information, and maybe I'll even change the voices. We're going to see what works, what doesn't work. I'll increase Michael's voice. Let's say 1.2. Let's make the podcast length shorter. So I'm going to make it 3 to 5 minutes. Let's change the discussion to academic and analytical. Add intro and outro music and background music. So I'm not sure if the intro, outro, or background music works, but I can test it out. But I know that one adjustment I wanted to make was with the generate podcast. So if you click on this, it works when you click on it. However, it feels like you can't tell. There's no indication that it does work until you see it on the top right here that it's actually starting to process. And so then it processes and it'll show you the final product. And so there's some adjustments that need to be made, but it's dope that the actual outcome of the podcast, this multi-speaker podcast, came to life. And then it's really adding some touches. And then I will also add authentication as well. So all right, so here's the podcast. Here's the script preview. Something else, I don't believe you can edit the script right now. So that's another thing. So I would like to change as well. But if I go, but you watch it, there is no like stopping point or midpoint. It just progresses. So either it should be that you could edit the script, or it shouldn't even show edit script. It should just show script preview, and that's it, right? But it should be one or the other. It should be one or the other. I think for this, I would do it such that I'm probably just going to literally just remove that edit button. All right, so it's completed now. Here it is, 4 minutes, 55 seconds. So it did it within the allotted time, which is perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead here and play this.
Welcome to Policy and Practice. I'm Michael, and today we're unpacking Joanna McClinton's governing agenda, how strong schools, fair funding, barrier-free health access, and modernized elections fit together. The piece opens with Miss Inez Hearn's 100th birthday, McClinton celebrating a beloved teacher, then reflecting on service after Miss Hearn's passing. It's a human entry point that frames an otherwise rigorous policy case. Deliver the basics, visibly and well.
I'm Emma. That vignette signals McClinton's emphasis on community credibility, not just rhetoric. But let's get analytical. What's the backbone of her approach?
So that's the podcast, and then you can speed it up, and you can download it as an MP3 or an M4A. Although it's reading here, it's 4 minutes 55 seconds, and then it's actually not letting me scroll through either.
Welcome to
and then but it's saying 3 minutes 58 seconds down here. It's saying 4 minutes 55 seconds up there. If I would have played this on my
Welcome
iTunes,
to Policy and Practice.
on my iTunes, it reads 4 minutes 55 seconds. So it sounds like this probably got the time wrong. But then it reads 3 minutes 58 down here as well. So the timing is something that we've got to figure out as well. All right, so we've got the work cut out for us. If I look at here, up here, this isn't anything yet either. All right, so if I come back here, as far as next steps, I can say, all right, here are some adjustments I want to make to, here are some adjustments I want to make to the app. So first, I want to remove the intro and outro for the podcast. Actually, hold on. Here are some adjustments I want to make. First of all, I want to remove the option for including intro and outro, and then the background music for now. I may add that in on like a V2, for example. So I want to remove that. So just remove the options for that, and then I also want to remove the option to edit the script. So like that button that says edit script that currently doesn't work. Remove that, and then I want to make sure that the time, like the actual length of the podcast, which reads for like the one I just uploaded, or I had processed, the article I had processed into the podcast, reads 4 minute 55 seconds length. But then when you look at the download options and recent generations, it reads 3 minutes 58 seconds. And then for the recent generations, I should be able to play that. I currently can't play the podcasts that have been recently generated. I can download it, but I can't play it for the recent podcasts that have been recently generated. And those are the adjustments that I would like to make. And so I'm doing this because I would actually like to be able to, let's say, add an intro and an outro, background music. Background music, you could make it very classy, and then some of these other things. But I'm thinking about, okay, what do I need in MVP? What I need to kind of just get the job done, and so that would be more than enough to start. Before then, adding in more, more on the plate. All right, so I created a prompt here to make adjustments. Now it's going through that process. It has 4 steps that it's taking. It's testing it along the way, and those 4 steps is to make adjustments to the edit button. So removing the edit button for editing the script, which just seems like it's already done. Removing the intro and outro music choices, which also looks like it's already done. And then fix the podcast length display difference, and then fix the audio playback recent section. And so it's going through each of those processes. So I'm gonna let it do it. I'm gonna let it do its thing, and then once it's done, I will come back and we can continue. All right, so we have republished the app. Basically, here are the changes we made. Remove the intro outro music choices, remove the edit script button, fix the podcast length display difference, and I fixed the audio playback recent section. That last one is what took the longest. Basically, I had to add in a prompt to ask if it was something to do with storage. Basically, it was getting stored in the memory, which is doesn't persist across sessions, and it wasn't even persisting within the same session. So now it should. And if I wanted to save the podcast, then I'd have to add storage. But this should persist across the session. But then if I refresh, it would leave. So we're going to now pull up the podcast pilot, view app live. Okay, what we needed to be gone is now gone. We're going to type in the same essay. Let's use different voices, right? Rachel, and we can go James, 3 to 5 minutes. Let's go casual and friendly. Oh, one other change I needed to make was to the generate podcast. Oh, well, that was good. So it did click, which is good. Now it's generating. We're gonna see if it gives us what we need. All right, so the edit is gone, edit button's gone, and now it's just drafting the script. And then it's generated a podcast, but it's saying 17 seconds and nothing is playing. So now the podcast isn't playing at all, in addition to the recent generated podcast. Neither the actual or the recently generated podcast is playing. All right, so it's now adding storage, simple file-based storage system, file-based JSON storage for podcasts. Ensure existing functionality remains and data persists across server starts. I noticed the recent podcast endpoint is returning an empty array, which indicates file storage is working correctly. That there just aren't any podcasts yet. Let me check the data directory to confirm the file storage setup. API has succeeded and the podcast is being generated. Let me check if the JSON files were created and then test for persistence. File storage is working. I can see the podcast JSON file, the podcast data. API returns the correct data restart. Success message from file. All right, this proves the file storage is working per data successful after the restart. Perfect success. I wonder whether it's being saved though. I was assuming it'd be saved in app storage. The persistence storage is working perfectly. Let me mark the task as complete and test that. Data persistence means your app remembers information between visits, like login, save, posts, or preferences. Without database, users will lose everything each time they refresh the page. Are the podcasts working now? Can you play both new and recent podcasts? Update system that manage uploaded article file. Let's see. Are we able to just preview it from here? Let's go check it out. View live app. Paste the same thing. Choose whoever. All right. So we've made adjustments to the app itself to where the edit script button is now just gone. The intro, outro music, that option is gone also. And so it's just a little bit more refined now. And then we also have a storage aspect as well. That's now here, so you'll see recent generations there no matter what. The only thing is the length of time for the audio is shorter just because 11 labs, we hit the limit for 11 labs. And so it must be that when testing was happening, it was testing using the 11 labs API, and it actually ended up using up all the available minutes. So that actually impacts the recent generations. And so that has to either, that would have to be reset or upgraded. But the app works. You could put in an example and generate the podcast, and now it also shows that it went through, in fact, and that process works. But the amount of minutes is impacted because of that 11 Labs API, which I'm not gonna now upgrade again. I just upgraded to the standard plan, so we're gonna have to let that play out. But this is the podcast AI around multi-person speaker, a multi-person AI generated podcast. An example of how you can use this Replit agent to really kind of start taking things to the next level as far as how long this agent is running, the tests that you can do, the mistakes that you can actually avoid now, but also understanding that there are still kinks that you're gonna have to work through, still errors that are gonna be present that don't automatically just go away completely, and still sort of just on this map of vibe coding and AI assisted coding and the next chapter of this whole space.